I want to continue the discussion now with my panel. We have Ned Ryan. He's a former writer for President George W. Bush, and he's the CEO of American Majority. And Isaac Wright is a Democratic strategist and the former executive director for Correct the Record Super PAC, now a partner at FSSG. Okay, so Ned, what's going on here? Because either he is telegraphing what he's going to be doing, or he's just sort of blowing hot air and isn't really talking about what the plan is for Syria, and he's just kind of ad-libbing some stuff that may not be true. Which is it?
Well, I think yesterday probably made an argument as to why we have teleprompters and we stick to the script. I mean, this is, you know me, I'm one of the president's biggest supporters. One of my things that I'm always harping on is a little bit more message discipline, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on the stump with teleprompters. Stick to the teleprompter, stick to what's been laid out for you, even be a little boring if you have to be, especially in a midterm election. So I got to tell you, I think it just comes down to basic message discipline. And again, it's one of those things that's always been a bit of a struggle. I'd love to see them work on that moving forward.
It wouldn't be, Isaac, a sort of campaign-style speech for the president if he didn't mention the wall. Let's listen to something that he said yesterday.
We need walls. We started building our wall. I'm so proud of it. We started. We have 1.6 billion. And we've already started. You saw the pictures yesterday. I said, what a thing of beauty.
So the wall, what he's referring to there are some photos that he tweeted out where he said it was the beginning of the construction of the border wall. The problem with that is that it's not, right? It's basically the mending of a fence, the repairing of an existing fence. But I wonder from your perspective, when you're looking at that and you're fact-checking these kinds of details, I mean, is it just white noise? Is there really a point to it? Is it something that politically Democrats can really make, I guess, progress with?
Well, it's dangerous, and we should treat it as something more than political because it is. This president has made it part of his campaign and now his administration to create a constant assault on the truth. He posted photos on Twitter saying it was the beginning of the border wall when we all know good and well those photos, even the DHS officials have admitted, they're from a fence that started in 2009. He claims this $1.6 billion is part of a new border wall, when in reality it's not. That money was put there by Congress to fund drug interdiction along the border, to fund greater surveillance with law enforcement along the border, and to patch existing walls with proven fence technology that predates May of last year, i.e. it can't even be the prototypes that the president has looked at in San Diego. This president has made it a constant battle and assault on the truth, and we as Americans, not just as Democrats, but as Americans, should reject that and should not allow it.
Ned, do you want to react to that?
I do. I mean, I obviously disagree with Isaac on some of what he said, but I would agree with him. This is not a good thing, not in regards to what Democrats or anybody else, but his base. I mean, this is a big issue, Brianna, for the base. This is one of the reasons he got elected. I think we need to have an honest conversation about whether the wall will be built or not. And I wrote about this in The Hill this week, that I think Trump was morally obligated to veto the omnibus bill because it was such a bad bill. And let's face it, he got less than 100 feet for a brand new wall while Chuck Schumer got his tunnel. And I think Trump should have sent it back and said, give me a short-term spending bill and let's have a conversation about how you fund my priorities. And that's what we need to have the conversation about, and the base needs to keep pushing and saying, this is why you got elected. We want funding for the wall, and if you have to veto omnibuses and send it back and go into a showdown with Congress, then go ahead and do that because the base will be with you. So I think we just need to have an honest conversation about whether the wall will get funded or not and how far Trump's willing to go to do that. And I think he should even think about, and I don't say this lightly, Brianna, Reagan shut down government 8 times during his administration, still had 3.5% growth. I think Trump needs to be willing to say, I will go so far as to say, I will shut down government unless you fund my priorities, and let's see what happens from there.
Well, we are on track for some shutdown records, maybe I will say that. Okay, community colleges came up in this talk. Let's listen.
A word that you don't hear much, but when I was growing up, we had what was called vocational schools. They weren't called community colleges, because I don't know what that means, a community college. To me, it means a 2-year college. I don't know what it means. But I know what vocational, and I tell people, call it vocational from now on.
Wait, what? What is he talking? There are community colleges that are not vocational college. What's he talking about, Ned? I mean, everyone knows what a community college is.
Let's go back to message discipline and talk about why I wish he would have really focused. I think it is a very good idea on vocational schools. Leave the community colleges out of it. I'm not really sure where he was going with that. But highlight the fact that we should emphasize vocational schools moving forward, that there should be a conversation about, you know what, I don't think everybody needs to go to a four-year college. I think they should go to vocational schools and really focus on that. Again, it comes back to, Brianna, message discipline. Focus on what you should be focused on, stick to the teleprompter, and stick to the message and really communicate. Because I do think vocational schools, and that is a very good thing for us moving forward, so we can have an honest conversation about what it means. Do you actually need to go to college, or should you go to Vertex School?
Isaac, I suspect that you may agree with Ned on that point.
Yeah, I mean, look, the president needs to deal with message. He needs to get back on track. I think he has made some blunders in the speech. I actually would welcome the president to have some of these debates. Ned mentioned earlier on the immigration issue, Republicans having a debate about shutting down government for the wall. Let's keep in mind Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan right now are the ones in charge of Congress. That's who have basically snoozed at his border wall perspective and the funding for it, and the same reaction they had to his infrastructure bill.
Isaac's opening up a big can of worms that unfortunately I don't have time to go into, but
I would
we'll
have
see you
loved to
gentlemen.
address that, 'cause I think
know
there's-
you would have. I know you would have, Ned Ryan. Thank you so much. We'll have you back soon, Isaac Wright. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brianna.
And coming up, the new signal that